Good afternoon. Good afternoon. We're going to get underway in about 1 minute or so. So if you want to find a spot to sit yourself, that'd be great, and we'll get underway just shortly. Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Well, it's an occasion where we want to extend to each and every one of you a warm welcome to spend some time with us here. Of course, we are gathered to memorialize and to remember Gordon Kannegiesser, a dear brother in Christ, a very fine friend, and an accomplished athlete in our midst. My name is Ken Farron, and I have the honor of emceeing this afternoon. Today's program will include several of Gord's friends, each sharing a few words of remembrance about him with us. And I'm sorry to say that Sheldon Kannegiesser, Gord's kid brother, is not able to be with us. He's not well today, and sends his regrets. Wishes he could be here. Gordon Kannegiesser, age 76, died after a very valiant battle with ALS on the evening of March the 1st, 2022 at 9:55 p.m. in the evening hours. Gord is survived by his brother Sheldon and his sister Judy and nephews Brett and Jameson. Born and raised in North Bay, Gord is perhaps best remembered for his lengthy career as a professional hockey player. After his junior hockey career ended, Gordy went on to play as a rookie under coach Scotty Bowman with the St. Louis Blues back in their first year under NHL expansion in 1968. Gord then went on to play for the Seattle Totems, the Denver Spurs, and Houston Aeros, where he laced them up with his childhood idol, Mr. Hockey himself, Gordie Howe. An inductee to the North Bay Sports Hall of Fame, Gord was a member of 3 championship hockey teams in the World Hockey Association, the Central Professional Hockey League, and the Western Hockey League as well. In the 30 or more years that Gord and I knew each other, unless he was urged to do so by his good friends, he very seldom made very much of his hockey career and the things he accomplished along the way. He wasn't too fussy even on our holding this event, to tell you the honest truth. He would rather not. He really wanted to stay away from the spotlight that might otherwise be shone upon his life, for he was, if nothing else, a humble man. I think he knew, too, that we could all too easily fall into the trap of making much of him and missing the opportunity to make much of his Savior, the Lord Jesus Christ. Near the end of Gord's obituary, it reads as follows. I quote, "His passion was preaching and sharing his faith in Jesus Christ with others. And to that, I would add that Gord Kannegiesser was an evangelist extraordinaire, one who was bold and unafraid to tell others of his faith in Jesus Christ, in the hope that whoever he was speaking to would come to faith too. Gord was very active in ministries here at Bethel Gospel Chapel, serving as a deacon for quite a number of years, and also faithfully ministering to the inmates at the North Bay District Jail. If one could describe Gordon, a task I think made difficult in that he was such a multi-dimensional man, words like, as said in his obituary, faithfulness in every action, word, deed, and relationship help to capture and take the measure of the man we are here to remember and celebrate today. On a personal note, I sure appreciated the times when I got to visit with Gordon Hospital, and for a brief while over at the Nipissing Serenity Hospice. I loved and admired Gord Kannegiesser for the man he was. I know I speak on behalf of many of you here today when I say that Gordon was a dear friend and an even better brother in Christ. He never lost his dry or wry sense of humor, I want to say to you. He really had a keen sense of humor. He wasn't one to laugh at his own jokes, though I did catch him out one day when, one time as he said to me, as I was getting ready to leave the hospital, he said to me, "Ken, you're a good man. Not as good as me, though." With that wry smile that only Gord could muster up. As I watched Gord stare down living with ALS, and as the disease took its inevitable toll, I came to admire his deep courage. I would sometimes lament that he had to that he had to endure such physical hardship. Not that he ever complained. He never did. I recall walking out one night with one of his nurses, and she kind of sidled up beside me, and we walked along, and we're talking about Gordon, and I mentioned that I'd never heard him complain, and one of the custodial folks, the cleaner folks, piped up and said he's never complained once in all the time he was here. He would say to me and to others, as he looked out on life and what it held for him, that the best is yet to come. He believed that awaiting him was a time when he would be ushered into the very presence of God and his Son, the Lord Jesus Christ. Gord was such an example to us, a man whose testimony can lead us to but one conclusion: he finished life well. Gord's faith in Christ never wavered, not one bit. And I'm convinced that it was his faith that sustained him, what gave him the courage to face each day. And as I said to Randy in a text message on the night when Gord died, I said to him, now he knows the answer to the mystery of his faith. I'm going to turn things over now to John Bushy, who will then be followed by Brent Tremblay, and then Sean McNeil and Randy Bushy in that order. John?
Hello, everybody. I'm Jonathan Bushy. Around here, I'm more known as Randy and Pat's son. And just wanted to share a few words about some memories with Gord. So one of my earliest memories of Gord is him teaching me how to water ski. So picture this. I'm a skinny little kid with a big life jacket on, in the water, holding onto this rope behind a motorboat, and I'm scared. But Gord is in the water with me. He's right behind me. He's holding on to me. He's got this calm, steady, encouraging voice in my ear saying, "It's okay, Johnny. You'll be fine. Just lean back this time. Keep your tips up. When the boat pulls you up, stand up on the skis. You'll be fine." And that encouraging voice is something that I think a lot of us experience with Gord. if you crack open a Bushy family photo album, it's uncanny how many pictures Gord is in. We grew up calling Gord Uncle Gord. He was like an uncle in that he was in our house all the time. And if you look at any picture of a kid's birthday party or a holiday or special occasion or even a Sunday dinner, Gord's in many of them. He vacationed with us often at our family cottage. And as kids, we loved having Gord around for a few reasons. Number one, he told great jokes. Number two, he told great stories. And number three, he usually brought a little bit of junk food with him, which was very popular amongst my siblings and I. As a teenager, I had trouble reconciling the Gord that I knew as this straight-laced, church-going, Knox Insurance employee with the stories that he told me earlier of him as a teenager water skiing with a girl on his shoulders. I also remember as a teenager noticing that Gord had an incredible physique. He had an athlete's body, and I approached him as a teenager one day when he was sunbathing at the cottage and said, "Gord, how do I get shoulders like yours?" He had these big muscular shoulders, and he said, "Oh, Johnny," he showed me how to do like a shoulder raise with weights. And looking back, Gord would have been in his 50s, early 50s, and he took very good care of himself, and he had that incredible athlete's physique throughout his life. As an adult, what I appreciate most about Gord was, number one, his faith. Any of us that spent time speaking to Gord, especially in the last couple years, the maturity and the strength of his faith became very evident. When we'd talk, Gord would tell me that he was looking forward to having a new body. He was looking forward to going home to be with Jesus, and that was very clear in his mind. It was a testament to me of how strong his faith was leading up, well, through his life. Another thing that Gord and I bonded over, that Gord bonded over with both Maria, my spouse, and I, was real estate investing. So real estate investing is a passion for my wife and I, and you may know that Gord was a seasoned real estate investor, and a unique real estate investor, because Gord was one of the few people who, as an adult, would have to move back home into a small apartment with his mother, while at the same time scraping together a down payment for a large multi-family apartment out of province. So I've enjoyed seeking Gord's advice on that topic, and we've talked often on it. About a year ago, my wife and I took on a big project, a big real estate project, and I was at the house working on it late one night, and I was feeling discouraged and I was feeling tired. So I called Gord up, and I didn't tell him that I was feeling discouraged and tired, but I think he sensed it, because he started being very encouraging. And as I was kind of hunched over the part of the house I was working on, I could just hear this voice coming into my ear saying, "It's okay, Johnny. You got this. You're going to be fine. You're going to do great. I'm so proud of you. I'm proud of Maria." And it took me right back to being that skinny little kid in the water behind the motorboat. And that's the biggest thing that I'll miss about Gord was, as Ken said, Gord was a humble man. He was a kind man. He was a steady man, but I really appreciate how encouraging and how selfless Gord was and always was, not only to me, to my siblings, to my family. So thank you, Gord, and we're going to miss you.
First Peter chapter 5, verse 1. Peter talks about being a partaker of the glory that is going to be revealed. And he, because he had seen the death of Christ and his resurrection as well. And because he'd seen his resurrection, he knew that there was something, definitely, it was a guarantee that there was something after this life. He was writing this because people had a tendency to forget about their future and their eternal glory. I've known Gord for quite a few years, and it seems like when you played hockey, you just have that bond. Whenever you meet a hockey player, you know, you just start talking about things, and you have it's just an unspoken bond that you have with one another. And for years, I would go over periodically to the house and talk with Sheldon and talk with Gord as well, and we'd talk about a lot of things. I'd spoken to him at Knox many times. I'd stop in his room, and we'd sit there and chat, and I'd go to the house and talk to him, and sometimes I'd find him on the street walking. In fact, he seemed to be walking all the time. He was often walking on the treadmill. You can see him up at the base or wherever you find these workout rooms. Gord would be there, walking on the treadmill, looking straight ahead, and he would do that. And then he got sick, and the walking stopped, and he ended up in the hospital with nowhere to go and nowhere to look but up. And occasionally I'd call him, and we'd just chat, and he kept his sense of humor. One time I'd asked him if he was running around the hallways while he was at the hospital, and we'd just chat. We'd chat about his body and how his outer man was decaying, but his inner man was being strengthened. And we would pray after that as well. We'd leave with a prayer and talk and have fun and joke, but it was a serious tone as well. And then the last time I called him, we were talking. He picked up the phone. In fact, the first time I called him that day, he couldn't swipe his phone, so you could see who had called, and he called me back. And we started talking, and the first thing his voice was starting to get a little muffled, and he said, I'm getting called up. And I said, so Gord, what'd you say, Gord? And he said, Brent, I'm getting called up. I said, and I caught on. We know what it is to be the excitement of having been called up to the first NHL game. And so there was something in that call that brought back a lot of memories for the both of us. But he says, I'm getting called up. And I said, is it Scotty? He goes, no, it's the real coach. He says, it's the GM. And then he goes on and says, it was the owner. The owner. I said, you're getting called up, Gord. Man, that's wonderful. And then as he began to talk, he said, we finished off. He said, I'm getting called up to the big leagues. And that was the end of our call. We prayed. And so we don't have to fear. We have hope. And it was evident in this man's life and in his voice, as difficult as it was for him to speak that day. He was saying, I'm getting the call. I'm getting called up. I'm going to the big leagues, Brent.
Good afternoon. I'm Sean. It's a privilege to read this story that was dictated by Gord January the 21st to, I believe, Sherry. And Sherry took this down. And as John mentioned, Gord was a man of stories. I think back to Sunday dinners at Cass' house, where there would be a story from Gord. Or at the Bushy's cottage, there would be a story from Gord. Or at Athletes in Action, there would be a story from Gord. And this story I've heard many times. And as I just read it quickly here, as Randy passed it my way, I can hear Gord's voice telling us this story. So would you let me read it to you? Let's read this together. Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination, April 4th, 1968. I'm going to take you back in time to spring of 1968. I was on a flight from Kansas City, Missouri to Memphis, Tennessee. It was tornado season in the Midwest at that time of year, and the plane was a converted World War II trooper carrier known as a DC-3. Some people called it a Dakota. It was a small but reliable plane. I was with the Kansas City Blues hockey team at the time, and we were flying from Memphis to play our first playoff game against the Memphis South Stars. They were the farm team for the Minnesota South Stars. Memphis South Stars, and they were the farm team for the Minnesota South Stars. Suddenly, the co-pilot rushed out of the cockpit and yelled to us to get in our seats and buckle up. There was a tornado up ahead, and we were going to try to fly around it. It could be a rough ride. Well, he wasn't kidding. We got tossed around the sky like a butterfly in a windstorm. When we finally touched down in Memphis, just about everyone was sick on the plane, and everyone thought he had cheated the Undertaker. We checked into the Peabody Hotel in downtown Memphis. The Peabody Hotel is a landmark hotel downtown Memphis, and it was located on Beale Street, the dividing line between the white and black communities. There was another event going on in Memphis that weekend, an event I was totally oblivious to. Thousands of people from all over the United States had converged on the city for a massive civil rights demonstration led by Martin Luther King Jr. Human slavery had caused unknown suffering and pain in the world, which led to the American Civil War and will always be a blight on American history. During the 13 years he led the civil rights movement, King won victory after victory without once resorting to violence. In 1964, he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize, and the key to MLK's assassination was his Christian faith. It was about 4 o'clock that afternoon in Memphis. I was standing in the hotel lobby with my roommate, waiting for the bus to pick us up and take us to the sports arena. Several police cars sped by the hotel at speeds with sirens on, wide open. When we went outside to see what all the commotion was about, as we were standing on the sidewalk, a man came up carrying a briefcase in a state of panic. As he rushed by me into the hotel, he did not realize the glass doors were shut. He crashed right into the glass doors and ended up on his back on the sidewalk and landed right at my feet. I leaned over and asked him if he was okay and what happened. He said, the king has been shot. The king has been shot. I didn't know what he was talking about. I said, king who? What king? Well, the guy got up, grabbed his briefcase, and rushed into the hotel. I watched him as he scrambled over to the telephone. It turns out he was a news reporter. It took us a few minutes before we realized he must have been talking about Martin Luther King Jr. Suddenly, all the traffic lights in the city were turned red. So there is a huge traffic jam everywhere, and we understood later that the assassin was reported he escaped in a white Mustang. Well, there was a white Mustang right down the street, and a bunch of police surrounded it with shotguns, and it turned out it was the wrong car because it was a little old lady in the car, scared half to death. The Lorraine Hotel was just down the street from where Martin Luther King was assassinated, and after a period, the traffic lights were released and the traffic started, and finally we got on our bus. Our bus showed up. So all the guys got on the bus and we left for the sports arena. We got to the sports arena and we heard the governor and asked for the National Guard as it was a state of emergency. We got all our equipment on and went out for the warm-up with the other team. The only people in the building were the employees, and so when they made the announcement about the National Guard, they of course canceled the game, and we went back to the dressing room and got undressed. We were caught in the arena until about 3 a.m. Everybody was. We were listening to the radio in the dressing room and heard people were overturning police cars and looting the neighborhood, and we were like, wow. One of the guards came in and we asked him what was going on, and he said, come on, I will show you. He took us down one of the alleyways and he opened these big steel doors, and all we could see was a big fire going on, a fire in the black community. He shut the doors as he was kind of nervous and then went back into the dressing room, and we were all in there just sitting around. I guess at that time the manager of the team was arranging with people of the police department to get us out of the building and back to the hotel. It turned out the employees used their own cars to transport the players back to the hotel, but we did not understand what was going on behind the scenes. And when they said each of us was going to get into the car and they would take us back to the hotel, several of us, 3 or 4 guys to a car, I guess it was going to be like a caravan of cars. So it turns out I ended up in a car with 2 goalies, the smallest guys on the team. I said, oh, we are in trouble. We're all in big trouble, because we thought we were going to go right through the riot. While they were riding and turning over police cars, we thought we were going to drive right through that thing, but we didn't. Anyway, I was in the last car of the caravan with the smallest guys on the team, and we went through all these different neighborhoods and nothing was going on. I guess they had devised a route for us to get back to the hotel. We did not see anything. It was very, very quiet where we went. We got back to the hotel and it took about a half an hour to get into the hotel because they didn't want us to get in. Finally, we got in there and had something to eat, and then that night they brought in the National Guard. All night there was a tank with about 4 police cars following it, and then there was maybe 2 or more police cars following and 10 troopers afoot going around the hotel all night. My roommate Phil and I could not believe what was going on. The fires in the background, and so we were just in awe about all that was going on. We never thought that that could happen in the United States of America. Anyway, in the morning we canceled the game, obviously, so we got on the bus in the morning and went to the airport and flew back to Kansas City. This was quite a memorable trip.
First of all, I'd like to thank you all for coming today. It's pretty exciting to have so many people who loved Gord and knew him well. If you think about Gord, how would you reduce the person he was down into a single word or a couple of words? To our family and to many of you, he was a celebrity. He was the biggest celebrity we knew, besides Brent. Sometimes when Jonathan was a little kid, he'd have a kid's party and Gord would come to the party and the kids would fawn all over Gord. It used to be Pat's brother do that. Merv would come and he was a magician, but Gord was a hockey player. That's way better than a magician. So he was a celebrity. He was a raconteur, as has already been mentioned. He had great stories. Gord would tell stories around our table, thousands of stories. We're going to forget them, which is too bad that we didn't write them all down, like Sherry did with this story of Martin Luther King. Gord told the story one time of being seated in Los Angeles at a very gala event, and the woman seated at the table with him was one of the most well-known pop music stars in the whole world. He didn't even know who she was. That was Gord. He had stories like that. Or the time when he was playing for St. Louis for the Blues. He was about 21 years old, and Al Arbor, who was well into his 30s, probably late 30s, the captain of the team said, "Kid, I need you to do something for me. I need you to attend this little function. You just have to go and eat a meal. That's all you have to do. You just have to show up." So Gord obeyed, did what he was told to do, showed up at this event, and it was massive. It was hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. And each of the St. Louis teams had sent a representative, including the St. Louis Cardinals sent the great Lou Brock there. So it gives you an idea of how big of a deal this is. And Gord's eating his meal, and this woman came over and said, "Mr. Kannegiesser, you'll be speaking third." And Gord couldn't eat another bite, and he said, "My strongest impulse was to look for a door and get out of there." But he knew that that would let the team down. But he just had great stories. And he was fastidious. If you were to reduce Gord down to one word, if you knew Gord's stuff, nothing got moved. Ken and I often found this out in his hospital room. Don't put anything where it's not in its place. Even his table beside his bed had to be exactly positioned. If you had it 2 inches out of place, he would tell you to move it. He was that fastidious. And he was a faithful work colleague. Gord was one of the most unusual hires I ever made. Gord came home in the early 90s, and the Knox crew is here. You maybe don't remember this story, or maybe I never told you, I was too embarrassed. He came home in the early 90s. He was in his 40s, and he was trying to figure out what he was going to do with his life now that he was home. And he had some different ideas of things he wanted to try, and he got some more education, did finish off some of his high school. And I remember one day saying to him at lunch, "Well, Gord, I could hire you, but I don't have a position open, and I don't have any budget. But if you want to work for free," did I ever tell you this story? if you want to come to Knox, you can come in, and I think he was working maybe for you, Kim. You can come in and work half days, and I can't afford to pay you. But if you do that for a couple of months, you'll at least get an idea of whether you like the job. And if you do, I'll create a place, I'll figure out some way of getting some budget so we can actually pay you, and we'll work together. So he agreed to do that. Who's going to agree to those kind of terms? But he did. He was a wonderful guy to work with. We all loved working with him. He was very consistent. His customers loved him. And he was a man of ethics and honesty. When Gord told you something, you knew it was true. I think, though, that the thing that defined Gord more than anything else was his Christian faith. And everybody who's talked before me referenced that. He was a man who was a follower of Jesus Christ. I'd like to read the Bible, and some of you are saying, oh, here comes the religious part. But it would be really inappropriate to talk about Gord Kannegiesser and not reference his faith, not reference the Bible. Because I read the Bible to him often. When he was in the hospital, he got to be so weak, he couldn't read. Gord loved to read, and he read the Bible more than he read anything else. But it was exhausting for him to actually read. So I'd go into the hospital each day and I'd say, let's read another chapter, and we'd read together. And when I would do that, he would assume this very placid expression and close his eyes as he's laying in his bed. He was very calm and peaceful, and sometimes his lips would be moving because he knew the words that were coming next. He knew the Bible so well. And when we were done, if he had enough energy, he would make a comment or ask a question. The day before he died, I read to him from John chapter 3. And I knew that that was one of his very favorite passages in all of the Bible. And he referenced that often. He talked about it often. John chapter 3 is the story of Jesus of Nazareth encountering this guy with a very strange name. His name was Nicodemus. And in a culture, Jewish first century culture, where the political and the religious were entangled in many, many ways, this guy was powerful religiously, and therefore he was powerful politically. Now there was a man of the Pharisees named Nicodemus, a member of the Jewish ruling council. He came to Jesus at night and said, "Rabbi, we know you are a teacher who has come from God." And here's the evidence. "For no one could perform the miraculous signs you are doing if God were not with him." This guy should have been an opponent of the Lord Jesus. All of his colleagues on the Jewish ruling council were. And he's taking a significant status breach step, potentially a breach of the status that he had in that culture by even meeting with Jesus. Maybe that's why he met with him at night. Jesus answered, "I tell you the truth, unless a man is born of water and of the Spirit, he cannot enter the kingdom of God. Flesh gives birth to flesh, but the Spirit gives birth to spirit. You should not be surprised at my saying, 'You must be born again.' The wind blows wherever it pleases. You may hear its sound, but you cannot tell where it comes from or where it is going. So it is with everyone born of the Spirit." "How can this be?" Nicodemus asked. He's surprised. Then it's the Lord Jesus' turn to be surprised. "You are a teacher of Israel," said Jesus, "and do not understand these things? I tell you the truth. We speak of what we know." And a few verses later is the most well-known verse in all of the Bible. "For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. For God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but to save the world through him. Whoever believes in him is not condemned, but whoever does not believe stands condemned already, because he has not believed in the name of God's one and only Son. This is the verdict. Light has come into the world, but men loved darkness instead of light because their deeds were evil. Everyone who does evil hates the light and will not come into the light, for fear that his deeds will be exposed. But whoever lives by the truth comes into the light, so that it may be seen plainly that what he has done has been done through God. That was the passage I read to Gord on Monday, and on Tuesday night he was gone. I never tired of hearing the story, one other story that Gord told, and I remember sitting with him when he told one of his doctors this story, that when it was in the mid-1970s, he was playing hockey in Winnipeg, and he blew out his knee playing against the Winnipeg Jets. And he knew that his professional hockey career, that which he had been groomed since he was a child, both Sheldon and Gord had really been groomed for professional hockey by their father. He wanted nothing else for those boys than to reach that level of play. When he blew out his knee, he knew that his career was over, and he really hadn't given very much thought to his life. But rather than worrying about vocationally what he would do, he began to think about the meaning of life. He began to really think for the very first time about the purpose of his life. And he made the decision at that point to follow Jesus Christ. Gord was not one of these people who would make a decision and then a few months or a few years later be on to something else. He was committed to his decision to follow Christ every day, every week, every month, every year, and every person who knew him, if you knew him very well, you knew that that was who Gord was. It's been mentioned that Gord used to have the saying, Ken mentioned this, that for the person who's a follower of Christ, even in a situation like he was in, where ALS had so ravaged and damaged his body, he used to often say to me, the best is yet to come. And if Gord was right about who Christ is, if Gord was right about his relationship with the Lord Jesus, then he's living a far, far greater life now than he ever did when he was with us. That was Gord Kannegiesser. Ken.
For those of us who met here regularly with Gordon, we know that he would often ask us together to sing this particular hymn. I'm not going to ask you to sing it, but I wanted to read a few of the verses from a hymn called Face to Face, one he cherished and appreciated, and let me share it with you, a few of the verses. Face to face with Christ my Savior. Face to face, what will it be when with rapture I behold him, Jesus Christ who died for me? Only faintly now I see him, with the darkling veil between, but a blessed day is coming when his glory shall be seen. What rejoicing in his presence, when our banished grief or pain, when the crooked ways are straightened and the dark things shall be plain. Face to face, O blissful moment. Face to face, to see and know. Face to face with my Redeemer, Jesus Christ, who loves me so. Face to face I shall behold him, far beyond the starry sky. Face to face in all his glory, I shall see him by and by. Let me close our time together in prayer. Heavenly Father, as we come to the end of our time together and celebrating Gordon Kannegiesser's life and his times with us, we, Father, would thank you that you loaned him to us for the time that he was with us. that through Gord we got to experience your son. For the very Spirit of God moved in his life, guided him, provided for him, directed him, and impacted us in so doing. Father, he was a very fine man, and we loved him. But we know, Father, that you loved him even more. And we know that on that day when he took his last breath on earth and his first breath in eternity, the mystery of his faith was realized. He no longer had to wonder at the wonder of it all. Thank you for him. Thank you for this time together. Thank you for those who've gathered here in memory of Gord. Thank you for the great pleasure it has been and the honor it has been to know this dear man. And for many of us, we look forward to a day when we will meet and see Gordon again. On that day, we shall all rejoice in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, our Savior. For it's in his name we pray this afternoon. Amen. This brings us to an end of our official time together, formal time. But there are lots of treats here. There's coffee on, and if you want to chat and mingle and enjoy some time together, please do so. We'd love to get a chance to say hello and reminisce a little more and just spend some good quality time. Thanks for coming today. Really great to see all of you here. And Gord wouldn't have wanted you to come. He didn't want you to come, actually, but he would really be thrilled to have seen you, how many gathered in his memory. Thanks for coming.